friends. Welcome to Coding Garden with CJ. Welcome to Morning Tea with CJ. CJ. The show where we just browse the web, see what's new. You can ask questions, I can provide answers, and we kind of just hang out. If you're new to the show, you can visit github.com/codinggarden/morning-tea. All of the questions I answer, all of the code I write, all the stuff that happens gets pushed up here, so you can check that out. I do apologize, I'm running a little bit late. I was like adding some last minute features to my chat manager thing. Like the idea is that the right hand side will now be all the incoming live messages, and that can stay there. And then these are the messages that I'm acknowledging. And then I was trying to get sending a message on Twitch chat and YouTube chat embedded right here, but that's not working just yet. Maybe we'll debug it. But hello, everyone. Welcome. Bagan says, let's go. Hello, Catoli. Hello, Elia. Hello, Domenico. Hello, Coding Room. Hello, Coding Pasta. Hello, Daniel Garden. Hello, May. Hello, Avi. Avi asks, what's up? Not much. I got a good amount of sleep. I'm ready for the day. And later on today, Alka and I are going to be working on that Twitch bot thing again. And we don't have the time set exactly. I think Alka got to bed a little late, but actually early, but it's okay. We'll figure it out. Good morning, Danielle. Welcome. Avi says, I'm trying to work on my speech-to-text project that is based on Electron, yet running into SOX issues? I don't even know what SOX is. We'll look into that. Oh, SOX, an application used to record and stitch audio files. Sound exchange. Very interesting. Very interesting. Hello, Mattia. Welcome. Hello, Mayer. Good morning, ATD. ATD says, it was so nice seeing you in the InstaFluff stream yesterday. I was just in the chat. I wasn't like on it. But yes, InstaFluff is awesome. And if you haven't heard of them, you should check them out. Twitch.tv/InstaFluff. It is the most comfy, most friendly, most awesome place on Twitch. He's hosting another channel right now, but he's live every Monday. No, sorry. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, WTF. And he codes and he just hangs out and everybody's super friendly. And I saw ATD in the chat too. So yeah, that was super fun. Hello, Katoli. Welcome. Yes, I was late. Like I said, I'm working on getting more features into this thing, but you know. Thanks for the follow, Daniel Garden. Hello, Elia. Good morning, Olarsino. Welcome. Hello, Katoli. Hello, Toby. Welcome. Hello. Good morning, Adam. Good morning, BS. Shrikmad, welcome to the stream. Hello, Robin. Hello, Murat. Bagan is saying, what is the name of my Chrome theme? I think it's just called, like, Dark. Let's see. Wouldn't it be under extensions? Chrome themes. Chrome Web Store themes. I don't really know. It's like the most popular dark Chrome theme that I can find. I don't think it's anything special. Hello, Patrick. Patrick says, I was wondering if you have any experience with Angular frontend and a Java Postgres backend. I do not. And I guess is the backend Java Spring? I've seen that combination before, where you can have like a JSON API and then an Angular front end, but yeah. Mattia says, a wizard is never late, nor is he early. He arrives precisely when he means to. Yeah, exactly. I can literally click that go live button anytime I want. Or the switch scene button. I was just working on other things, but welcome everyone. Hello, Chris. Good morning. Why did your chat become a love emoji? So I have a, what do you call it? A profanity filter, and it's way too aggressive. So it detected something you said as profanity. Maybe morning. I don't know. I really need to disable it. Actually, I'm gonna hide my screen for a second and fix that. I'm not gonna disable it, so don't send any naughty messages, but I am going to make it a little less aggressive. So give me 1 second while I do that. We need that one. And also, if you have any questions, throw them in the chat. We'll have the time to answer them. I'll probably do morning tea for about 2 hours or so. Wait. Maybe an hour and a half, take a break and then potentially start streaming with Alka. We'll see. We'll open that up. The tricky thing though is I'm doing the filtering on the back end, so like once the message is filtered, that's how it that's how it exists in the database, and it's actually really hard for me to see what the original message was. But we'll fix that. It's a work in progress. Okay. Comment out that line. And cool. Save that. Server should have restarted. We can refresh both pages. Yeah. Cool. All right. We're back. So hopefully that won't happen anymore, but we'll see. Hello, Gio. Welcome to the stream. Katoli's asking, could you explain how college works in the USA? I guess so. Yeah, I mean, I don't know everything about it. I can explain how it worked for me and what I did and all that good stuff. I'm adding that under questions. Actually, this isn't a question. That one is a question. Cool. Is there any language you've been meaning to start learning but haven't? In terms of real languages, I installed Duolingo, like the mobile app, and I'm trying to learn Spanish. I mentioned it a while back, but I'm going to have my friend on the stream, and we're going to try to do the whole stream in Spanish. I don't actually speak Spanish, so it'll be interesting, but it'll be fun to try and talk about code in Spanish. In terms of coding languages, I mentioned it, but I think it would be fun to learn Go. I've done a lot of the other like more recent and popular languages, but I think Go would be fun. Not Spring this time around, using Hibernate as an ORM and using servlets and a Tomcat server. Wow. I've never dealt with that kind of Java stuff. Yeah, so I've never really done it before, but I think ultimately if you're interfacing with any sort of single page application like Angular, it has to be a JSON API. So at the end of the day, as long as your backend is returning JSON, Angular doesn't really care where it's coming from or what the backend is written in. Daniel is asking, have you ever developed a Chrome extension? If not, you should for a future stream. So whenever Brooks was on the show, we actually created a Chrome extension. Check out my channel. And if you look at the recent stream, well, when I'm not live streaming, I currently have that video pinned, but it is this one, Coding Garden Talk. And at the end of the video, we implement a Twitch extension that replaces the word "the" with emojis. I think. Is it there? Yeah, so he did it like on the Hacker News. Basically, any page you're on, it finds the word "the" and replaces it with an emoji. So that was pretty fun. It's nothing very useful, but it kind of showed how you get an extension up and going. Good morning, Ryan. Welcome to the stream. Yep. Hello, FSETs. Welcome. Katoli says, just tell me if you need some help with Spanish. I will. No, and I think that would be great because I know there are a lot of viewers in Spain and Mexico and Puerto Rico and the Dominican Republic and all these Spanish-speaking countries. So it would be really cool if we could actually get like a large Spanish-speaking audience and also like beginner Spanish coders that potentially it's harder for them to learn because all the videos online are in English. But yeah, it'd be fun. Spanish heart. Yeah, see, look at all the Spanish speakers. Yeah. Browsing JavaScript news. Yeah, we're about to do it. Usually I like to let all the viewers trickle in. We say hello. And then if there are no like major questions, yeah, we just look at the news. Hello, Krisu, welcome. And thanks for the follow, Suavity. Welcome to the stream. Let's just go ahead and bring up Reddit. Reddit.com/r/JavaScript. And there was a question. Could you explain how college works in the USA? Sure. So there are public universities, which are typically they get some funding from the government, and there are private universities which get no funding from the government. They're totally private. They're like separate entities. So there's those types of universities, public and private. There are financial aid programs. So for people that whose family doesn't make above a certain amount of money, they can actually get grants from the government to go to college. And typically it's need based. So you would apply, you would describe how much money your family makes, and all that kind of stuff. They plug it into a formula and decide how much of a grant that the government's going to give you to help you go to college. So for those that are less fortunate or less wealthy, you actually can still go to college. So there's that. And then yeah, so in terms of like going from high school to college, um, typically when you're in like the 11th or 12th grade, you'll start searching around for colleges to, and you can, they typically have like on-site visits where you can tour the campus and learn about their programs. And then you can start applying to colleges, and ideally you get accepted to a college or university before you graduate. What else? In a lot of places, in a lot of states, college and university is actually very expensive. In the state that my family lives in and where I went to college, they have I don't know if it still exists, but they had a very interesting program at the time where any resident of that state got totally free tuition to any public university, not private, but any public university, if your GPA, grade point average, was above a 3.0. I don't know if it's the same grade scale in all across the world, but a 3.0 is typically like a B, like A, B, C, a B or above. So if you had a B or above graduating from high school, you would actually get your tuition paid in full for college. And then if you had a higher GPA, you would also get like a stipend to pay for books and to pay for room and board for every semester that happened. Not every state is that way. The one I went to was very special in that I did not pay a single dollar for university. They paid my full tuition. I really only had to pay for room and board. What else? Yeah, I mean, I guess when you apply, they look at your GPA. They look at what types of things are you involved in, especially if you're applying to a more prestigious school. You like to have things on your like resume or your application that says like you were the president of the student club or the chess club, or just or you volunteered for this and that. So all these different ways that you were involved, and usually at more competitive schools that can help you get in. I know it's a lot. I hopefully that answered your question, but if you have any more specific questions, I'd be more than happy to answer. Oh, interesting. Avi is saying about Chrome extensions, Manifest version 3 has some radical changes. That's good to know. Hello, Anton. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Jack Skelly. Ryan says, got back from the tech offsite, loved it, and was able to pair program with one of our senior engineers. That's awesome. It's always good when you can like learn new things from your coworkers and be mentored and stuff like that. That's good to hear. Hello, Stipo. Welcome to the stream. Hola, ¿qué tal? ¿Qué tal means like what's up, right? What's going on? Nada. How do you say morning tea? I need Google Translate. To Spanish. De la mañana. Mañana is interesting because mañana also means tomorrow, but I guess it means the morning as well. I don't know. Doesn't it? Right? Morning. Mañana. Tomorrow. Mañana. Yeah. Hello, Cananello. Welcome to the stream. I'm working on a project for my second year in computer science classes. We are provided with a simple API that does basic pre-processing and feature extraction. Any ideas of a type of application I could build? Ooh, very interesting. We're going to save this one and we'll think about it. That's a good question. Anton is saying, that's cool. Here in Sweden, tuition is always free. You just need to have the grades to get in. Yeah, and I don't know if that program still exists in the state where I went to college, because there was like weird government funding issues, but it was actually like I know so many people that complain about being in debt from university, and I am not. I had my tuition fully paid for by the state. Robin says, I don't get the 0 to F grading system. 0 to 100% makes more sense. Yeah, and I mean the thing is, like, every school could have a different grading scale where it's like still based on 0 to 100, but it could be like 90 to 100 is an A, or a 96 to 100 is an A, and I don't know the other scale, but then 90 to 96 is a B. Yeah, it varies. And then there are some schools that do a 5-point GP grade point average instead of a 4-point grade point average. All the schools I went to were 4-point. Christian says, watching from the Philippines and currently working on React projects. Awesome. Glad you could hang out with us. Coding Pasta is asking, what did I study exactly? Yeah, so I got a major in computer science and a minor in mathematics. Danielle says, on the subject of college, how important is it to actually have a Bachelor of Science in Computer Science? I see lots of job postings requiring it. If I've got a strong portfolio but no degree, should I apply anyways? This is the classic question, and it's more and more prevalent, especially now with lots of self-taught coders and like coding schools, that kind of thing. Yeah, this is my longer break timer. I'm gonna respect the break timer. You may not have noticed, I'm wearing a compression sleeve. My wrist started acting up, which is not a good thing. I tried to rest it for most of yesterday evening, but when I pair with Alka today, I think when I have him do most of the typing, it's feeling better. It was just like a little sore, like in my thumb and my wrist. But yeah, play my ukulele. Okay, that was a minute break. I'll say that's enough. Cool. So the age-old question: should you have a degree? So the thing is, there are a lot of companies that have really only ever hired computer science degrees, or really only ever hired students that have a computer science degree. And that's just what they're used to. So the interview process is tailored towards people that got a computer science degree. The job posting says you must have a computer science degree, but the landscape is changing because there are a lot of people that aren't getting computer science degrees but can do the job. So it depends. I'd say it absolutely does not hurt to apply. And I mean, the worst thing is they can just tell you no, but I think it's definitely worth applying, even if they say you must have a computer science degree, because if you have a portfolio of projects, if you can show that you can code, then that's going to speak much more than just saying you have a computer science degree. The other thing I noticed, at least in the US, is a lot of companies actually require that you have a degree of some kind. It doesn't have to be a computer science degree, but I've seen some larger corporations turn students away, or turn applicants away, if they didn't have any degree at all, which is unfortunate. But a lot of companies, I guess, like to see that on your resume because it shows that you can complete something. Like, you can start something and complete it, I guess. And there are other reasons, but yeah, I would say it's not required. I would apply anyways. Really just have a strong portfolio, show that you can code, and that's good enough. May is saying, when I export a function in JavaScript and I write console log blah under this export, why do I see this console log when I'm importing this function in another JS file? This is a great question. We should just explore like what happens with modules and imports and exports. But the reason is, like, whenever, so you could have module.exports or export default anywhere in a JavaScript file, but when that file gets imported, the entire file gets run. So regardless of where you have module.exports, if you have console logs anywhere, all of that code, the first time it's imported, that code is going to run. And then after that, it actually keeps a cache of it. So you'll only see those console logs run once, because that's when it was imported. And then if it was imported into any other file, it uses the cache in memory version of that module. But I'll save this. Maybe we'll show some examples. De la mañana. There we go. Tea in the morning. Ralph says, it's 85 degrees here in the Bahamas. What's the temperature out there? Oh, that's great. You're in the Bahamas. Let's see. It is currently 42 degrees Fahrenheit, which is 5 degrees Celsius. Humidity, 46%. Wind is at 5 kilometers per hour southbound. Today, well, actually, how do I switch to Celsius on this view? Celsius. I can't switch to Celsius. But in terms of Fahrenheit, the low is 36 and the high is 66. So it's a little bit chilly, but I really this is my favorite kind of weather. Like this right now, right here, right now, definitely. Kacholi says, thanks, I'm thinking on going next year to study abroad in 11th grade or going to college there, and I was a little bit confused about SAT and ACT scores, financial and so on. Oh yeah, I didn't mention SAT or ACT scores. Yeah, so whatever university that you decide to apply to, you'll need to have one of these tests on file. I believe the university I went to only required the ACT. They're different and they're not interchangeable. Some universities will accept either, but usually like SAT is the like the de facto one that the majority of universities accept. The one I didn't, the college that I went to didn't do SAT score tests, or didn't look at your SAT scores. They look at your ACT. But yeah, so there's standardized testing basically like when you're in 11th or 12th grade. Actually, you can take it as early as like 9th grade, I'm pretty sure, and then each year try and take it again and get a better score. But universities will also look at your test scores for when they're reviewing your application. Yeah, and then financial aid. I don't know if government financial aid is available to students that are studying abroad, like that aren't from the U.S. I have no idea though, but that's something also to think about. Cool. Hello, Boyan. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Linus. Ricky says, morning or night. I'm working with AWS Lambda. Lambda functions are limited to 512 megabytes. Hence, it's hard to work with a lot of big data unless I use streams. Can you do a tutorial on sending streams to the client? That would be super interesting. I've never really done anything like that. But it's a very interesting problem because you can't hold, when you have these kinds of limitations, you can't hold all of that data in memory. You have to essentially send it to the client as you receive it so that you're not like increasing your memory or storage usage. And so you're just like gradually sending stuff to the client. So yeah, streams are interesting. Maybe we can talk about that later. Self-improvement says, college sometimes feels like a scam, but I'm glad I went to it. It made me discover my passion for programming. Yeah, so I mean, I really didn't like university, but there are things that I learned that I take for granted. Like I don't realize how much all this computer theory affected me and like affected the way I think and the way I solve problems. So yeah, that's definitely something to think about. Have I ever tried freelancing? I haven't. I mainly just worked for companies, but yeah. Speech to text coding stream. That's going in the questions ideas. Yuvaraj is saying, I was watching Coding Train yesterday and happy we were both watching. Yeah, I tuned in for the whole stream. It seemed like there weren't that many mods in the YouTube chat, and then his Slack wasn't very active. I don't know. Whenever he's streaming, I'm going to try not to stream. I like to just watch. Hello, Raphael. Got a question. How do you answer interview questions like, how would you build Facebook? Are they expecting a stack or a process? I think it's both. It's really just, they want to see how you react to that kind of question. Do you immediately start talking about process? Do you immediately just start talking about infrastructure? Because there's a lot of different ways you could attack this problem. Like from a product perspective, like before you even start building, you would want to validate like what are the kind of users of your application and how are they going to use the application, because that's going to inform the architecture and how you actually design it. So I think they asked this question to see what your tendencies are, to see, do you go like, are you product first? Are you just all about coding and the infrastructure? And the other thing is, do you ask those kind of questions? Like, how many active users are we going to have? what are the types of interactions that are going to happen? How fast does the response time need to be? Because if like Facebook is huge, it has billions of users, and maybe that's why they're asking that question, like how would you build a scale system? But there are not a lot of companies like Facebook. There are not a lot of companies where you have a piece of software that's used by billions of people. So I think it's just to get you talking. It's to see where your tendencies are, to see what kind of questions you ask about this thing that you're trying to build. Yeah. Danielle's saying, that makes me feel better. I do have an associate's in applied science, so that's something. Yeah, absolutely. Especially like if you have a degree in engineering or something science related, a lot of times they will count that to say like you have a degree, but you also now know how to code and that kind of stuff. So yeah. Hello, Beerus. Welcome to the stream. Water.in. What is this? Should we go to it? Do we trust Linus? Go. Oh, it's a weather site. Cool. Yeah, so it's thinking I'm in Arvada, which is totally fine. That's near Denver. Can I switch to Celsius, or does it like detect my locale and choose Fahrenheit for me? Cool. Hello, Palasar from Russia. Welcome. Can we see you on serverless stuff? I've done serverless like once before on the stream. We built what do we build? We built like a sorting function as a service. Like you could post an array to it and it would respond with the sorted array. It's not that useful, but it was fun to see. Hello, Afri from Indonesia. Welcome. Have I ever tried Strappy? I tried it once a while back, and they have gotten better and more featureful and less buggy since then, but I haven't tried it since then. Let's put it in the questions. Oh, that was viewable in the terminal? Can I, like, curl it? Hey, that's actually pretty cool. You just curl it and, yeah, wow, that's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, and for those of you that don't know what Strappy is, it's a headless CMS based on node.js. So basically, you can generate a Strappy app. It creates an admin interface for you, and then from the browser you can log in, create new tables, insert data. Basically, it allows you to manage your backend without having to build all of those backend routes. Coding Room says, I made a movie about exports. It's recorded in my language. Hello from Poland. Cool. Check out Coding Room's channel to learn about modules and exports. Obvious saying, would you be interested in contributing to my speech to text project? I'd take a look. I don't know if I have anything to contribute, but yeah, if you want to share the link on Discord, that'd be cool. Joe is saying, any plan on making a dedicated Feathers.js REST API using Mongo tutorial? Yes. I'm sort of doing that now. So I started working on this thing called Snapgarden, which is going to be like Snapchat, but on maps. And we're using Feathers as the backend. It's so long ago now that it's not on the past live streams. It was a few weeks ago that I was working on it. Where is it? Yeah, working on a full stack Mapbox app. So this does have a Feathers backend. Right now, the backend is very basic. It just has login. But we're going to expand on that backend and allow users to upload images and send messages and follow other users and stuff like that. So yeah. Yeah. Hello, Suraj from Nepal. Welcome. Is it illegal to web scrape an anime website where you just get the links of the video and list it on your website? It depends on that site's terms of service. If you read their terms of service, they might say you're not allowed to request or inspect this site using any automated tool. They might say you can use automated tools, but they shouldn't send more requests than regular users. I would really just look at that site's terms of service. Yeah, so that website detects the locale. That's pretty cool. Buenos dias, Bob. Bienvenidos a Coding Garden. Boyan is saying, I've been asking in an interview, what is a data-attributes used for? Know anything about that? Let's do that. You know, we haven't done, like, just, I guess we have done a little bit of vanilla JavaScript. But yeah, I'll talk about data attributes, and those are used heavily with, when you're just doing vanilla JS, there's a lot of older JavaScript frameworks that are kind of based around data attributes, but let's do that. Save that one for later. Barris is saying, how do you get your iTerm looking like that? It's super clean. Thanks. It's the latest dark theme. I think you're mentioning like the fact that there's no like window Chrome. About iTerm. You can see that I have most likely the latest version. And PSA, public service announcement, upgrade, update your iTerm 2. They did a security review of iTerm 2, and they found a remote code execution vulnerability. This was like 10 days ago, and it's super cool because the security audit was funded by the Mozilla Open Source Support Program. So this is a program where they use their funds to help open source projects do like security reviews and stuff like that. But basically, there's a bug in iTerm 2 where if you're using, I think it's tmux. Yeah, so if you're using the like tmux with iTerm 2, you're potentially vulnerable to this thing where the output of a command could actually be processed as an actual command and be executed. I think in this simple thing, they SSH into a server, and then the calculator app opens up on their machine. Yeah, see, and that's just an example. Calculator app is harmless, but if you SSH into a machine and it can actually execute code on your machine, that's not a good thing. So upgrade your iTerm. That's the public service announcement. But I believe with the latest version of iTerm, you can enable this like fully dark mode. Let's see, window, native full screen windows, preferences, magic, tmux. I don't know where it is. Maybe it's under advanced. Appearance, that's probably it. Yeah, theme, minimal. If you do regular, yeah, then you get like your, well, I have dark mode enabled on Mojave, but you get that. But I have the minimal mode. Hey, somebody trying to remote code execute me with this Java update? Why did that even pop up? You stop it. You stop it. Minimal is what I use, which is clean. I agree, very clean. And then I just have like a black background lime text theme enabled. Yeah. Cool. Cool. Totally says, thanks another time, CJ. Looking at this kind of thing made me realize how different things are in our world. Would be glad if someone could help me a bit on those strange terms, at least for me. Yeah. Feel free to post in Discord too. If I have the time, I'll try and respond. Yeah. Hello, CJ. Welcome to the stream. Hello, Zachary. Welcome. Thanks for the follow, Nat Pagels. Is it like Pringles? Nat Pagels. Nat Pulgles. Extra Mad is saying V2 is even cooler. All right, give me a second. I'm running dangerously today. I'm opening up all these random links. I gotta protect myself. Here we go. Okay, here we are. Let's try it. v2.wttr.in. Shriekmad tells us to go to. Ooh, it has like a graph. Yeah, let's look at it in the terminal. Curl. Nice. And it's got emojis. This is beautiful. Every website should just be like, we should just look at every website in the terminal. I mean, I know there's is it Lynx? Is the web browsing terminal that people used to use? Lynx browser? Oh, LYNX. There we go. But this is a terminal-based web browser where you can actually like click on links and it'll attempt to render the page somehow in the terminal. Do I have it? No, I don't have it. I could install it, but awesome. Yep. Whoa, Yeah. Hello, Alka. Welcome to the stream. I hope you got some rest. And if you didn't, get some rest now. And we can always stream later. Ricky says, using streams, the constraints, I guess, would even apply to a DigitalOcean node VPS. So this was the question earlier about you're limited in the amount of data you can have in your backend server, and you need to stream that data to the client so you don't run out of memory or space, or like storage space. Dropbox, for example, will send a download file as a stream in the response, and the MDM docs are really terse. Interesting. Yeah, I'd have to look into it because I've never really done it, but I know even with like a Node.js backend, you can actually stream a response where instead of just doing one res.send, you do a you can basically stream the data back instead of just sending it all at once. But yeah, thanks for the YouTube sub, Ivan. I appreciate it. Avi is saying, actually made a small Chrome extension that is meant to skip filler episodes. Works for most anime. Oh, very interesting. Share your website again, Avi. I know Avi has like a really cool website where he has all the extensions and different things that they've built. But yeah. Thanks for the follow, Needium Alive. Use Gopher. Is that like links? Oh, there we go. And Alka is mentioning res.pipe, which is how you stream data to the client. The Gopher protocol. Huh. Cool. Cool. Alka just woke up. That's good. All right. Let's answer some of these questions that we put on the back burner. Okay, so Kenanello is asking, we are provided with a simple API that does basic processing and feature extraction. Any ideas on the type of application that I can build? Basic pre-processing and feature extraction. Is this of like text or of images? I guess feature extraction is usually done on images, right? Feature extraction. In machine learning, pattern recognition, and image processing, feature extraction starts from an initial set of measured data and builds derived values intended to be informative and non-redundant, facilitating the subsequent learning and generalization steps. Okay. Yeah, so you could do it with image processing, like feature extraction, like determine where are the eyes in the image, where is the mouth in the image, those kinds of things. But I believe... Can't you use feature extraction for other things? I don't know. You could, depending on what it is, you could get pretty clever with it. Like, what if you, it could just be software that runs and processes data coming from a webcam. So, like, when is somebody actually in the image, and it does smart detection of users, so it extracts, like, it sees people and different things like that. Feature extraction. You could point it at an image of a salad and pick out all the tomatoes. I don't know. I think it depends. Like, if you provide more details of what this API is, like, is it for images? Can it accept like video data? What does it do? But you could get weird with it. Yeah, we'll save this one. We'll write some code. Let's set a timer. In 15 minutes, I'm gonna write some code. We're going to explain these things people are asking about. Yeah, and this is about streaming. Like, honestly, I don't really have any experience with it, but I'll think about it in terms of doing a tutorial on it. Speech to text coding stream. I'll save that one, because when we write some code, I'll show you how you can do it in the browser, which is pretty sweet. Can we see you do serverless stuff? Yeah. If you check out coding.garden/videos, just search for Lambda. Oh man, why is this taking so long? Weird. This one. CJ implements merge, sort, and binary search on AWS Lambda. So it was just a silly example, but we basically implemented a sorting and searching method in the cloud, and then you can make a post request with your data, and it would respond with the sorted or searched data. So you can check that video out to see how I did it there. And like I said, I tried Strappy a long time ago. I haven't tried it recently. It'd be cool to try. Oh yeah, and then data attributes. Well, all three of these we're gonna save because they're potential coding examples, which is gonna be fun. Beer says, last question, I promise. What would you ever do a tutorial on Nuxt? Yeah, I just haven't, but I like Vue.js, and so Nuxt.js is the server-side rendering counterpart to Vue.js. So I would absolutely love to. If you're familiar with React, it has Next.js, so Nuxt.js is the same thing but for Vue. So I'd love to, just haven't done it yet. What happened to my hand? It's just sore. I don't think I've been taking breaks as much as I need to, and I have been working on my laptop in a non-ergonomic fashion. Like I've been just working on my laptop in my lap, and so my thumb is doing all the work. It's horrible. I should not code that way. So it's just a little sore, but it's feeling better today. Cool. Suggestions for scraping data off of LinkedIn. I would suggest looking at the network tab because LinkedIn is built with Ember.js, so they probably have some sort of API that you could even talk to. So look at the network tab. See what XHR requests are made. Thanks for the YouTube sub, Javon. Welcome. Joe is saying, I'd like to ask, I've got my final task on campus. I'm trying to manipulate data from the Spotify API, and currently I'm stuck. And I ask in Discord, how's the rule? Thanks for, yeah, absolutely, Joe. I would say, depending on where you're manipulating the data, is it back end or front end? But we have the front end help and the back end help channel, so you can ask in there. Oh, Matia's saying, I didn't mean the speech to text API, but using it to write code due to my injury. Yeah, that's hard. And it's something to think about. Like there are coders out there that have no limbs. Like they don't have the hands to type, so they actually use like a speech to text API to write code. They're also blind coders that they can't see, so they use speech to text. They use text to speech software that helps them write code and like reads the code back to them, which is insane. I can't even imagine that, but they exist, and they yeah. All right, we've got a message here. What'd they try to do? They sent a comment that said hello. Thank you, Jano, for the comment. I appreciate it. It's more of a meme. Yeah, it's all good. Let's do some JavaScript. Have you heard of Storybook? Yeah, Storybook is pretty sweet. So Storybook is all about documenting your components. They have plugins for Vue and React and Svelte and all of the modern front-end frameworks. It's a way of creating living documentation where you can actually interact with the components. So Storybook is pretty sweet. Check it out. UI Component Explorer. I wonder if they have a quick example. Yeah, and you can use it with all these frameworks. But basically, you get like a nice little browser that shows you your components. You can render them. You can add knobs where people can interact with them and change their props. Storybook is awesome. All right, what do you got for us, Linus? Hi, what's up, dude? Blindfolded kata stream. Saving it in the ideas. It would have to be something super simple, because yeah, I mean, if I can't see where are the semicolons, did I invoke that function? It could get really difficult. All right, where's my timer at? We're only 5 minutes in, or yeah, so I think I set that for 5 minutes, didn't I? And hello, Matthias. It's good to see you too. Thanks for tuning in. Let's write some code though. I want to write some code. We're gonna do it right now. Okay. Let's talk about imports and exports. Let's just talk about the mechanism of like requires and stuff like that. So let's do this. We'll make a new folder. We'll say fun with modules. And inside of there, we're going to create a new file. Let's just call it index.js. And for now, we're just going to log hello world. Oh, and you might see I went back to my SETI Monokai theme. It's a bit more muted, but I feel like I did so many videos with this theme in my editor that people They might feel out of place if I'm using a new color theme. Maybe I'll switch gradually. I don't know. Cool. So we have a file index.js. Let's just run this thing. Let's go into fun with modules. We'll just say node index.js. Beautiful. It logs hello world. That's great. Let's start to create some modules though. So if we create a new file, let's just call this maths.js. So this is going to be a file that exports math functions. So we'll have a function called add, takes in a and b, returns a plus b. Simple. A plus b. We'll have a function called subtract. It takes in a and b, and it returns a minus b. Let's have a function called sum. It takes in an array of numbers, and it returns the sum of all those numbers. So we're going to reduce it. We get the sum, we get each individual number, and we want to return sum plus number. Let's start it off at 0. There we go. So we have some simple utility math functions. Now we want to make these functions available in another file, so we'll do an export. So I'll say module.exports, and the way I like to do it with Node is to create an object and then put all of my functions inside of it. So I'm going to put add here, subtract here, and sum here. And this makes available to the outside world an object that has these 3 functions on it. One thing you could also do is say like module.exports.add equals add, and module.exports.subtract equals subtract, and module.exports.sum equals sum. Ultimately, it does the same thing because module.exports is an object with all the things that you're exporting. At least in Node.js. Things are slightly different if you're working with common JS modules, which you would if you're working with React or Vue or anything that's being transpiled. And what you could do there is just say like export function add, export function subtract. This won't work in Node right now, but yeah, so we're just gonna do module exports. Okay, that's great. So we created this file, we created these functions, we exported an object with those functions. Now we want to use those functions in this file. So we'll require it in. So we'll say maths equals require. We'll bring in maths. And then I have access to maths.add, maths.subtract, maths.sum. Great. So let's add 1 and 2. And we'll store that in result. And then we'll log result. All right, let's run the code. 3. 1 plus 2 is 3. Awesome. But the point of all of this is to show like what's actually happening here. So let's do this. Let's create another file. And let's call it, I don't know, uses maths.js. So uses maths.js is going to require in maths. So we'll say maths equals require maths. And then this file is going to say maths.subtract 10 and 20. We'll just log the result is result. And let's store this in a function, and then we'll export that function. So we'll have a function called use the math. And it's just going to do this simple thing. And we're going to export this function. So module.exports. And we could export this function directly because it's the only thing, but let's just use object syntax. Maybe we export other functions later. Okay, I'm getting to the point. This is a lot of weird stuff happening, but I'm getting to the point. Okay, so we can see that uses maths requires in maths, and then we can see that index.js requires in maths, right? So they both require in maths. And let's also, in this file, we're going to import uses maths. So we'll say uses maths equals require uses maths. And then we can call uses maths.use the math. And so when we invoke that function, it's going to call the subtract function of math and then log the result. Okay, so we've got a lot of weird stuff going on here. And then we run it, and we get both logs, right? But the point that I wanted to show is that if we go into maths.js and we add like a console log up at the top here, so log, hello world, how many times is this log going to run? That's time to wake up, but we're already awake, so that's okay. But is the question I have for you. Take one set. Don't run the code. I mean, I guess if you were, I don't know if you could, but think about it to yourself. So how many times is console.log going to run? So we have in our index.js, we require in maths, right? So it should probably run once. And then we require in use maths, but if we look at use maths, it requires in maths and then uses it in here. So how many times is this console log going to run? Thoughts? I'll wait for you. Think about it. Think about it. Think about it. Oh, and I'm drinking Immunity Aid. It's a slightly carbonated supplement. It has vitamins A, C, and D, zinc, magnesium, valerian root, ginger, chamomile, no artificial flavors or sweeteners, and only 45 calories per can. It's pretty good. Usually I start the morning, I've been starting my mornings with vitamin packets, mainly because everyone around me is getting sick. I've been working from home as much as possible. Like, I don't want to get sick. I do not want to get sick. Okay, we have a couple of answers. So Dat Sparrow says once, it's cached. And Boyan says once, and you would be right. So let's run the code. We only see hello world once. So what happens is, yeah, it's not tea. We're drinking some vitamin supplements. But what happens is the first time that module is required in, so if we look at like index.js, this is the file that we're running, it requires in maths. So this file is going to run and it's going to export this object. But after that point, so after this line of code, the Node.js module system has cached that module. Meaning when any other file requires it in, it's going to get the cached version. This code is not going to run again. We're just going to get this object, which was cached behind the scenes. So then when we go into this file, uses maths, it requires in maths, but the Node.js module system sees, oh, this has already been required and it's cached, so I'm just going to give you back that object. And then you can use it. And so that's why like circular dependencies actually work okay in Node.js, because it caches like the first import or require of a thing. And then you're just using the cached version everywhere else. So it's actually pretty easy to do circular dependencies. You can still run into issues, but for the most part, it works better than other places. So all of that to say, when you require a module, you're getting the cached version of it. The other thing is you could potentially modify it, I believe. So if right here I said like maths.divide, and that's going to be a function that takes in a and b, and then returns a divided by b. Pretty sure this will work. Let's try it. But I'm pretty sure this will actually, it's going to update that underlying object that's cached, because I don't think it's frozen. We'll see. So I updated maths here. So now inside of use maths, let's try to do it again, or try to use it. So result2 equals maths.divide 20 and 10. No, let's divide 30 and 5. Result 2. All right, let's try it. Is it going to work? Place your bets. It worked. So 30 divided by 5 is 6. So yeah, so that's the other weird thing, is at runtime, you can actually, well, I mean, technically, yeah, so at runtime, you can change the export of a function, which is kind of weird, but, you know. All right, I think that was fun. And I saw a chat come through, like, we should make a separate video out of that. I think we will. There's nothing interesting going on in this message. He won't read this. I did, though. I did, Linus. I read it. I saw it. Santos Regawa is saying, can you make an editor on the page which compiles HTML, CSS, and JavaScript? This is an interesting project, but I mentioned in the past, JSBin is actually open source. So if you check out JSBin on GitHub, you can actually pull down the source and run a local copy of JSBin. And so JSBin is very similar to CodePen and JSFiddle and all these other things where you can edit your HTML, CSS, and JavaScript, and it'll actually render it and run it. So I would recommend checking that out, because it's pretty complicated to build from scratch. Canonella says the API works with images only. Feature extraction is actually much more basic. There's a route for canny features, fast features, warp features. There is no machine learning. Interesting. Okay. So this is a question that Canonella asked a little bit ago. Like, what are some ideas? Like, we have this API that can do feature extraction. What kind of an app do we build? Yeah, I think you could build and I guess because it's giving you back these features, you potentially have to do the machine learning yourself. Like, you could pass it a bunch of pictures, get back these raw features, and then run that through a machine learning algorithm to make it a little bit smarter. That's one possibility. Yeah, detect animals in images, detect people in images. I don't know, detect stop signs and other kinds of things in images. I don't know. I'm not a very good idea generator, but you can do a lot of things. Matthias says, I could learn more about modules. Cool. Reasons for using semicolons in JavaScript. To me, it feels complete. So I'm at the end of the line. It feels like a, what do you call it? It feels like a period on the end of a sentence. And I like that. And also, I used to code in C#, and it requires semicolons. And then when I got into JavaScript, I didn't want to lose the habit of putting a semicolon everywhere. So I prefer it. A line terminator. There you go. Thanks for the follow, Stuckles. I appreciate it. Joe is saying it's in the front end. Thank you so much. Yeah, just ask on Discord. We'll help you out. Hello, Shaitan. Welcome. Hello, Shaggy. Hello, J-Man. Welcome. Still reeling from the 1Q problem from the other night. Yeah, so if you saw the recent Code Katas episode, someone suggested that I do a 1Q, and I did it. Now, there's been talk that this 1Q actually wasn't that hard. It was more like a 4Q. But regardless, I still did it, and it was fun. So you can check out that video. Boyan is saying, Coding Garden with CJ, League of Legends World Championship, which button do you press? You can watch both. I don't know. This is probably way more interesting than anything you're going to see here, so maybe you just watch the League of Legends World Championship. Yeah, and Dot Sparrow got it right. It caches it. Mattia is saying, I think it's a shame these lessons get lost in long VODs. You should make it into its own video. Money. I'll try to. Rain once. Doesn't look like tea. Yeah, we're drinking some vitamins. Did I watch the Google keynote last Tuesday? The Pixel 4 was announced. I didn't watch it. I've seen like random YouTube videos popping up about the Pixel 4, but yeah, I didn't get to see it. Let's take a stretch. Ooh, sorry. 3. Just ran once. Good to see the YouTube chat working. What was the issue? For some reason, the video search API from YouTube was not listing live videos for my channel. I would make the request to get back an empty array. The way I fixed it was to list upcoming videos, and I just have to be sure to open this chat window before the stream actually starts, and then it works. And for more info, read the CommonJS docs. Absolutely. CJ's voice is really soothing. I appreciate that. I don't know if everyone agrees with you, but I appreciate that. Hoo-ha! Oh, that's nice. You got the emote modification? That was great. That was fun. On InstaFluff stream yesterday, we were modifying the emotes. That was super fun. Doc is saying, so what's to stop some random dependency overriding OAuth to steal your JSON web tokens? Not much. You can do object.freeze, and that would prevent it. So let's do this. Yeah, we put that divide function on there. And then in maths, let's say, let's store this in a variable called lib. And so ultimately, all I've done is move that object into a variable. That we should still be able to modify it. Great. But I can do object.freeze. And that prevents me from modifying or adding any new properties. I may need to pass in some options, but let's see what happens. Yeah, here we go. Maths.divide is not a function, so I tried to add that maths.divide to it, And because I froze the object, it cannot be modified from the outside world. Yeah. Yeah, object dot freeze is a best practice in lieu of proper code signing. Yeah, I'm not sure how you would even really code sign a JavaScript app, because when they get, like, when you install an npm module, you're really just installing JavaScript source. It's not compiled in any way. So yeah, and I would say that's probably, especially if you have like a very popular module that a lot of people are using, I would say, yeah, that's a best practice, because you could create a malicious package that has like, that overrides all of the methods, especially because of this caching mechanism, right? You would just import that module. You could even put it in a try catch, just like try and import some secure module, and if it does exist in the node modules, that import's going to work, and then like intercept the functions. Yeah, you could do some really tricky things. Cool. That said, I haven't really heard of other projects doing object.freeze. I mean, they probably do and should, but yeah. Parameter unavailable. That's unfortunate. Let's see on Twitch. Uptime. There we go. 1 hour, 9 minutes, 58 seconds. We'll stream for probably another 20 minutes or so. Bob is asking if I have a P.O. box for fan mail. I do have a P.O. box. Should I share it? Like, I could get some really weird things. I don't want to get weird things in the mail. I don't know. I'll think about it. Line terminator. So the semicolon is a line terminator. Ryan says, how do you find the energy to code so much in your free time? My brain hurts. I just love coding. That's what I just love it. Like, I like solving problems. I like writing the code that does the thing. I like setting out to do something and then finishing it and solving it with code. It's my motivation in life. So I don't know. What do you think about using atomic design patterns in React? I guess you can kind of get that. So let's just look up what atomic design patterns are. But the idea of the component system where you can create small, simple components that just do one thing really well. So you kind of get that because each component is like an atom in the system. So let's see, we have atoms, molecules. It's really hard to read. I can't see it. But honestly, I've never really done anything like that, and I'm not totally familiar with atomic design, so it's interesting, but I don't have much to say about it. I'll say that. Linus says, I also started with C#, but now I think it looks better without. I don't think I'll ever get away from putting semicolons in my JavaScript. I don't. It just feels weird. Do you think it's better to learn front end or back end first? I think it's better to just learn general programming concepts with JavaScript. And you can do that regardless of front end or back end. So yeah, I would focus on that first. And then once you have the fundamentals, then you can kind of decide, do you want to build APIs? Do you want to build more like front end based things? That said, if you're just building APIs, really the only way to test them is with some sort of HTTP tool. You'd have to kind of build a front end to also get that feature of it. So I don't know, just be a full stack dev. But my suggestion is learn the programming concepts first before you jump into deciding front end or back end. Syntactical sugar. Punctuation, that was it. Yeah. 4Q. Build a break timer with Electron. That's been suggested before. I think it's on the landscaping GitHub repo, so I might do that. An idea for a 3D game, a driving tutorial based on real roads, making you pay attention to street signs, traffic lights, and pedestrians. That's actually really awesome. Like, you could integrate with like Google Maps Street View and like be driving actually down the street. That's pretty great. Oh, there's the InstaFluff. Awesome. Yep. Hello, Programming with Peter. Welcome. Phoenix is saying they worked on the 1Q. That's good. My keyboard is very soothing. Yeah, I talked about this a little bit ago, but it should be a best practice, especially if you have a package that's used by a lot of different things. Yeah. Good morning, Alex. Welcome. Yeah, the Streamlabs bot is just Does not work well on YouTube. Maybe I should make a YouTube bot. Cool. I don't know. What do you guys think about PO Box? Should I share my PO Box? What do you want to? What would you send me? If you say yes, share my PO Box, just tell me what would you send me if I shared my PO Box. Have I ever considered coding in Vim? What do I think about its bindings and way to navigate up, down, left, right? I'll save this as a question and I'll tell you my opinions about it. Astronoph. I find it really hard to dig for objects in coding or knowing when it's time to do so. Any tutorials on that subject? Hi and thank you. So just working with objects in general. I don't know of any good tutorials. I mean, I would recommend all of the things I've recommended before for like learning JavaScript, because a lot of them have lessons on objects. So there's Watch and Code. This is a great free video course. There's Eloquent JavaScript, which is a great free JavaScript book, and it has a chapter on the secret life of objects. This can get a little bit dense, but it might help you. And then also You Don't Know JS. And it has probably in types and grammar, it's going to talk about objects. Let's see. Chapter 1, types. Built-in types, the object type. Does it talk about like properties? Not much. I guess it could be in this in object prototypes, but here we go. Chapter 3 of this in object prototypes talks about objects, and it starts from the basics. So Kyle Simpson does not require any previous knowledge. It tells you from the basics how do objects work in JavaScript in this particular chapter. So I would check that out too. There we go. Hello, Baskin. Welcome to the stream. Self-improvement is asking, are design patterns really used in a job? Should I spend my time on learning them? It depends on where you work and like who you work with, but a lot of times design patterns are a really good communication tool. So from one programmer to another, to be able to say, this is the observer pattern, or this is the accumulator pattern. If you're both familiar with design patterns, instead of having to describe this whole thing, you can just say the word, and there's that mental model in the other person's head where they've already stored that's what that thing is, and it makes it easier to communicate. So there's that. But if you work at a place where nobody knows design patterns, it's not really, you can't really use it as a communication tool. It can also help you in solving problems, because design patterns are essentially problems that have already been solved before. So if you come across a problem and you know of design patterns, you can say, oh, I can use this pattern here. So yeah, it depends, but hopefully that was a decent answer. Semicolons are bae. I agree. Thanks for the follow, ASCII only. I appreciate it. Semicolons are great. I agree. I don't know Kotlin. So if you code Android apps with Kotlin, refactoring will automatically remove your semicolons. Really? That's crazy. Really curious about my opinion on Vim. Okay, I'll talk about it. Dobra Robata. PO Box. So YouTube can send you a 100,000 subscribers plaque. I think they'll ask for my address if and when that happens. Thanks for the follow, MB Crump. I appreciate it. Here we go. Linus is saying, for objects and other stuff, check out this Fireship course. Yeah, so Fireship posted a video yesterday about objects. I didn't know he had articles to go along with it. Let's see. Chapter 6, objects. Yeah. His videos are fantastic. So if you haven't checked out Fireship on YouTube, check it out. I don't know if he edits them himself or if he hires somebody to do it, but it's really good editing and animations, and there's memes and movie quotes, and it's a really entertaining tech channel, so you can check it out. I kind of disagree with his approach in describing these things for absolute beginners, because if you're an absolute beginner and you go to this, like absolute JavaScript beginner, and you go to this video, it's going to be very confusing. But if you've been programming in JavaScript for a little while, but you're somewhat unfamiliar with objects, or you're already experienced in other programming languages and you're moving into JavaScript, this video will help. But it's a great video. It just, the target audience may not be complete and total beginners. I'll say that. It's free. Yeah. Project ideas: automating certain tasks using VS Code Web View API. I don't even know what that is, but we'll save it for later. Prevent me from leaking my .env. That's a good suggestion too. Hello, yes sir. I'm gonna stop streaming pretty soon. Mainly so I can take a break, and then I'll come back in an hour or so, and I'll do some pairing with Alka. Domenico says, I code in Python, and I love its clear syntax. No parentheses, no semicolons, but then I switched to JavaScript, and I feel the need for semicolons. Yeah, that's one cool thing about Python is it's white space based, and I think that's really good for beginners, because I see so many JavaScript beginners that will just put random semicolons in places they don't belong, or put random curly braces in places they don't belong. So as a JavaScript programmer, there's a lot you need to know about syntax and where things go, and it can be very confusing for beginners. But yeah. Bob is saying, I'm in a web dev course in university, and people just learning about JavaScript aren't using semicolons because they're optional. It hurts my soul. Yeah, there is, what do you call it? It's called ASI. JavaScript moment. ASI stands for automatic semicolon insertion. Automatic semicolon insertion. And this is the thing that the JavaScript engine does when it processes your code before it executes it. Essentially, if it finds a new line without a semicolon, it will insert a semicolon there. So rule number one, when, as the program is parsed from left to right, an offending token is encountered, then a semicolon is automatically inserted. So in this case, because there's a new line, semicolon. In this case, because there's a new line, semicolon. In this case, there's a curly brace. So the parser says, oh, well, we've just opened up an if statement. We need to keep parsing the next line, no semicolon. We're here, okay, this is a statement. We're currently inside of an if statement, insert a semicolon. Curly brace. Okay, this is closing the if statement, and that doesn't need a semicolon, so no semicolon. This is at the end of the line, insert a semicolon. So the JavaScript engine's doing all the hard work, but there's some edge cases. I wonder if this covers them. Yeah. So if you don't use semicolons and then you put the thing that you're trying to return on the next line, JavaScript will automatically insert a semicolon right there, and your function will return undefined. So that's like the classic gotcha of not using semicolons. And then the other thing is if you are doing an immediately invoked function expression, let's do it. So let's explore no semicolons. Let's create a new folder. New file, index.js. So yeah, let's say I have a function. I'm using the most simple example of add, but if I do return, and then I put a plus b on the next line, I mean, it's totally fine. My linter is yelling at me. My linter is saying missing semicolon because I have my linter tell me to use semicolons. But if I call add with 1 and 2, and I guess I should just not use semicolons anywhere. Let's see what happens here. Do you know what's going to happen? What's going to happen? It's possible. You might be right. Let's try it. Linus says nothing. No, something will happen, but we won't see it. And you're right. Let's just log the result to actually see what happens. Oh, no semicolon. Okay, here we go. Undefined. So what happens is the automatic semicolon insertion algorithm gets to this line and says, oh, there's a new line. I'm going to put a semicolon there. And then this function just returns undefined. So that's one gotcha with without using semicolons. Let's rename this to return example. And then the other gotcha is with immediately invoked function expressions. Iffy. Immediately invoked function expression. Example.js. So let's say we have const a equals 10, no semicolon. Const b equals 20. And then we say const result equals a plus b, no semicolon. And then we do an immediately invoked function expression. So an immediately invoked function expression is when you wrap a function and then immediately invoke it. So we've taken this function, we put it in parentheses. We can put the parentheses there. That will invoke it. We can also put the parentheses on the inside. Douglas Crockford likes to put them on the inside. I like to put them on the outside because to me it's like this is my function, which has been wrapped in parentheses, and now I'm invoking it. But I mean, you could do it either way. The JavaScript engine doesn't care. But what this allows you to do is write a function that immediately invokes itself. So we'll say like, hello world, I ran. And what will happen is it will basically define this function and invoke it all in one go. And this is usually a way to create like a scope. So we used to do this all the time before we had modules. You would basically define your code inside of an IFE like this. Oh, I used a semicolon. Thank you, Linus. So we can just log, or no, we could like define a var. I never use var anymore, but we could define a var c equals, wow. But because of this immediately invoked function expression, this variable only exists inside the function. Because in JavaScript, when you invoke a function, you create a new scope. Break timer. Okay, I will give you 30 seconds. What's going to happen when I run this code? What's going to happen when I run this code? Rip var. I'm curious, can I turn off ESLint? Disable ESLint. There we go. Now you don't see the curlies. Hello, Instafluff. Welcome to the stream. RIP var. Rip. Okay, 15 more seconds. What's going to happen when I run this code? Did you guess? What is your guess? My guess is cannot invoke 20. So basically what happens here is because you didn't put a semicolon there, on the next few lines it sees these parentheses and it's like, oh, you were trying to invoke a function, so let's invoke the function b with that function. But let's see it. Like cannot invoke wait, not that. Ignore that. The iffy example. B is not a function is the error that we get because the automatic semicolon insertion algorithm is trying to help us. It's like, oh, you didn't put a semicolon there, but on the next few lines down, that's actually valid JavaScript, so we're gonna just put that there. So this is the other case where people that don't use semicolons and they want to use an iffy, they put a semicolon right there. And that will actually work. Wow is not defined. What? Oh, it's called C. There we go. This should work. There we go. But yeah, that's the automatic semicolon insertion at work. Awesome. What about anti-patterns? I don't know. I'm gonna stop streaming soon, so there are a couple more coding questions I do want to get to. So let's get through the chat. Don't click view code. I'm gonna click it. Hey. There's nothing in there. There's nothing in there. Optional doesn't mean it's the popular choice. Very true. Don't forget your semicolons. Yeah, I know Instafluff used to do C# too. So we've been having this conversation. Why do I use semicolons? I use semicolons because to me it feels like I'm completing the sentence. It feels like a period on the end of a sentence. It's like I'm done. And also I used to code in C#, and so I don't want to forget semicolons. But I see that, I know that Instafluff uses semicolons, and Alka uses semicolons. We're all cool coders, right? We use semicolons. All about put a semicolon or not, do whatever you want, pretty much, yeah. And that's the thing, like JavaScript was designed to be very forgiving. A lot of people hate that, but it makes it so that it's easier for people to get into coding it. Yeah, InstaFluff says it's been killing me in Python. Yeah, Python, no semicolons. Alka says I'm going to switch from using periods to semicolons just in my everyday typing. There we go. That's great. And then you sound more like proper and defined because it's like semicolon and then. J-Man is saying, we have our pipelines fail if a semicolon is missing. Strict, but it's good for consistency. Yeah. And so right now I have, on all of the projects I work on at work, we have a linter file that requires semicolons. You can create a linter file that doesn't require semicolons and throws an error if there is a semicolon. But that's up to you. I actually don't have an ESLint. So I'll explain my setup really quick. So what I did, because I was running into issues, was in my home directory. So in my home, little tilde, I have an ESLint RC file. And this defines like just the most basic rules. So ESLint recommended, 2-space tab, require semicolons, single quotes. So this is my super basic ESLint that I use for most coding, unless I'm in a project that's using the Airbnb linter file. There's that. And then I have ESLint installed globally, so npmi-g ESLint. And basically the combination of those two things, if an ESLint file is not found in the current project, it uses this one, which are just my preferred default rules. So that's how I have things set up. But then when I'm actually in a project, it uses the ESLint file. Yeah, and thanks for the question, Rudix. The way to bypass the return is to end with a token. Right. So in the other one, well, not that one, in this one. So in the example where this function returns undefined, you can absolutely say return A and then put like plus B on the next line. JavaScript is totally fine with that. But if you put your return here, your function is going to return undefined. Please explain closures. Not today, because I am going to stop ending soon, but if you search my videos, I don't know if I titled it closure. Closure? No. I'm pretty sure in either the last morning tea or the one before it, I actually went pretty in-depth into closures. I think it's this one. I think if you look at the October 4th morning tea, I spent like 20 minutes talking about closures, so check that one out. Alka got it. It tried to invoke B, but it's not a function. All right. Wow, not defined. Thank you, Bohan. Boyan caught it before we got there, but I tried to log wow, but the variable was called C. Does it look for a parameter of B? Yeah, so it basically tried to invoke B as a function. Sometimes they use ifs to be able to test stuff using async await. It says Abunga. Yeah, and right now in node.js, you have to do that. So you could technically create an ify, make it an async function, and then you can do async await inside of it. But if you're using the latest version of Chrome, it actually supports top-level await. So if you say, I don't know, const response equals await fetch of https://reddit.com/r/aw.json. Go. Cores header. I think I need www.reddit.com. Top level await. Yep. And then I could say JSON equals response.json, and I need to await it. And if we log JSON, there we go. We got the data back from Reddit. So in Chrome, you can do top level await. I think it's behind a feature flag in Node right now. You can't do it directly, but that's pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Chat delay is huge. It is. Baskin says, I'm learning HTML and CSS, and I'm actually learning stuff. It's not like just a guide telling me how to add text to the screen and then it ends the guide. That's good. That's awesome. Good. Glad to hear it. No 5-hour stream? I don't recognize you anymore. It's mainly because I'm going to be streaming with Alka for most of the day, so I need to be energized and refreshed. There we go. Semicolons everywhere. Thanks for the follow, Courageous Kokori. Sorry it took so long for me to get to it. That was 4 minutes ago, but welcome. Linus has a linter to automatically remove semicolons, and you can do that. I have mine automatically add semicolons if they're not there. One more reason to use semicolons. Bob is saying, definitely an idea for merch, something to do with semicolons. Like some sort of quote. I could just create a shirt that has a semicolon on it. I would wear that all the time. I've thought about getting a semicolon tattoo. However, a semicolon tattoo has different connotations if you look it up. But I love semicolon. I'm gonna get a semicolon on my pinky because that's what I tap the semicolon button with. Thanks for the follow, Rudix World. I appreciate it. r/unpopular opinion, yeah. I need to get some more full stack apps going. I haven't built one in a while, so yeah. Hello, Emmanuel. Welcome to the stream. ATD is saying, the only thing I'm picky about when it comes to code style is I prefer arrow parens even on single argument functions like const a. Yeah. And there is an ESLint rule that says always require parentheses. The Airbnb config says if it's a one-line function, it shouldn't have parentheses. If it's a one-line function with one parameter to the function, it shouldn't have parentheses. But that's just a style preference. Yeah. A semicolon tattoo and a closing parentheses tattoo. There you go. Semicolon. Ionic now enters in the world of React. What? So Ionic was based on Angular 1 for a while, and now the latest is based on Angular 8. Oh my goodness. One code base now in React. So that's cool. So if you're not familiar with Ionic, it is a hybrid mobile platform, meaning you can build mobile apps, but when you build them to like actually run on a device, it's an app that's actually running inside of a web view instead of being like native UI components. And so typically that was done with Angular, but now with React, you can do the same thing. So this is somewhat of a competitor to React Native, but it's different because React Native actually renders the elements, whereas this is going to be running a web view. That's super cool, and it uses Cordova to do more native things like tracking location and using the camera and stuff like that. But that's awesome. Thanks for pointing that out, Ashwin. Maybe we build something in that one day. I don't know. Rudix World, yeah. So reduce function is something I have trouble with. I did a video a long time ago with my noob friend Tony on all about functions in JavaScript and map, filter, and reduce. So if you check out coding.garden/videos and then just click on Noob Quest, I think. No. Newbie Tuesday. And there's like a 4-part video series on higher order functions, map, filter, reduce. But we start with the basics, like what even are functions and how do you pass them around and what does it mean to pass them around? So yeah, take a look at this first class function. This is where to start. First class functions, higher order functions, accumulator pattern, for each and map. So like before we even start talking about reduce, we need to have a good grasp of all these underlying things. So check out that video series. It might help you. Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, thank you, ATD. You got it. Yeah, we finally got top level away. It's super cool. I think it's great. I've never really used promise.finally. Is that well, I don't just want to search finally. Is that in the spec? I've always used promise.all. Returns a promise. When the promise is settled, either fulfilled or rejected, the specified callback function is executed. I think I've used this once before because you can put it after a dot catch. And no matter what, like even if the dot then got called or if the dot catch got called, the finally will get called always. So I think I've used this once before. Yeah, once. 2 to 3 seconds latency. It's amazing. That's good. How about Axios in Node.js to do fetch? We could absolutely do that, but not right now. But it's possible. You can do npmi Axios and then use that to make your requests. Oh, thanks, ATD, and thanks for the follow, Stazik. That's what I'll call you, Stazik. Yeah. So Alka and I are going to be working on the Twitch bot that we started last weekend. So if you just look at the most recent videos on my channel, you can see part 1 and part 2. I will say in those streams, I was extremely tired and it kind of showed. My brain was foggy, but I'm very rested and feel much better today. So hopefully we get a lot done. But we're going to be working on that Twitch bot. I'm being kept in the dark. No, it just takes me a while to get to your messages. Cool. Yeah. So Percelsior is saying thanks for the Bin Awad suggestion some days ago. One of his videos answered all my questions. Yeah. So if you haven't checked out Bin Awad, he has a YouTube channel, tons of great videos, and he's been pushing out a lot of content lately. Bin Awad, especially stuff on JSON web tokens and cookies and when should you use which. And he has a ton of like full application builds. It's a really good channel. Check it out. Yeah. Can make an iffy a tattoo. I like it. No worries, Manus. Yeah, Ionic is sweet. People have basically, if you're building a hybrid mobile app, like you know that you're not going to be able to do super native things that are super responsive. But for the most part, if you're building a basic mobile app, I think it's the way to go. When someone uses semicolons in Python, we don't do that here. Guess who's? Thank you, Matterdash. I appreciate that. Ionic and Flutter are going head to head. It's like it's a whole different world though, because Flutter does native rendering versus having a web view. So, yeah, yeah. I hope I answered Manus' question. I don't know. Thoughts on Flutter? I think it's really cool. That's my thoughts. Quasar is another hybrid mobile platform, yeah, but using Vue instead of like Angular or React. I should do Ionic. Ionic would be fun. Yeah. Did I get to Manus' ball question? Did I save it for later? I don't know. Maybe you ask again, Manus, because I don't know if I saw your question. Oh, that's cool. ATD is saying, I've used it to remove loading spinners regardless if the promise was fulfilled or rejected. That makes a whole lot of sense. Using the dot finally. Yeah. Static? I think the 7's a Z. Static. I don't know. I'm going to try to do something on Docker soon. And actually, I haven't talked to Alka about it yet, but this Twitch bot we're building, I think I want to put it in Docker containers. So we'll talk about that. Okay. I went way over when I said I was going to stop streaming. So. We're talking about ASI, Dart. Hello, Heidi. Welcome to the stream. Any quick questions that I can answer? Speech to text. Let's just do it really quick. Chrome. No, it's not Chrome, but speech. There's like a speech API built into the browser in Chrome using the web speech API. Speech recognition. We don't want that. We want text to speech. Speech synthesis. Here we go. Here we go. Populating the element. Is it just synth.getVoices? No, they created a variable called synth. How? Oh, window.speechSynthesis. Okay. .getVoices. That gives us a ton of voice. Wow, there's so many voices. There's 66 of them. We have Alex, Alice, Alva. What? Look at all these. That's awesome. Okay. Oh, you can use Google US English. I wonder if that's like the woman's voice that's used like on Google Maps. That would be really sweet. Okay, let's see. This is number 48. So let's say const voice. Well, that equals, so const voice equals that at index 48. There we go. So we have the Google US English voice. That's good so far. And then what do we need to do? Yep. They're making this overcomplicated. We just want to do it. Speaking the text. Okay. So new speech synthesis utterance. Yeah, and then we need to say the voice. Okay, so we'll say say it is going to be a new speech synthesis utterance. With what do we? Oh no. With what do we want to say? Well, now I can't call it that because const already exists. Const say it again. We want to say hello friends. There we go. And then we'll say it again. Dot voice equals voice. So it should be the Google US English voice. There we go. And then we'll do synth. No, we'll do. I hate that they're using all these weird variables. Window.speech synthesis dot speak with say it again. All right, are we ready? Volume all the way up.
Hello, friends.
Hey, that's awesome. Cool. So we did that. Oh yeah, let's just talk about data attributes really quick because they're super interesting. Let's do like a front end example. So if I create a new folder here, and let's just call it data attributes. And then inside of here, I create a new file called index.html. We're gonna initialize it. And let's say I have a div right here, and I have a data attribute. So I'll say data dash name equals CJ. Hello, friends. Cool. So with these data attributes, you can actually access them with client-side JavaScript. So for now, let's just give this an ID of like greeting. And if we create some JavaScripts, so let's just do a script tag. Inside of here, let's select that thing with the ID greeting. So greeting element equals document.querySelector for the thing with ID greeting. Cool. So we selected the element, but now if we log greeting element dot, I think it's data set. We'll see. That will be all of the data attributes on an object. So let's just run this in the browser really quick. So let's go into data attributes. Cool. We'll start up light server. It says hello friends, and if we look at the console, we see this thing called a DOM string map, which is basically like an object and has name CJ. That's awesome. So we could also go in here and add other data attributes. So like data dash time is 10 a.m. Wait, did somebody zoom me? Oh, no. It's because I zoomed on localhost, I think, right? Yeah, it's because I zoomed on localhost, so that's zooming in. So data dash time. Okay, we could say data dot JSON data. And in here, I could put something. I would need to parse it, but I could have like an object. Well, let's use single quotes so that I can use double quotes inside of it. I don't know, name CJ. I'm running out of examples, but now with all of those data attributes, if we look at the DOM string map, so if you do element.dataset, we have access to all of those data properties. So this is super common in some older front-end frameworks, like Backbone.js, and other things like that, and maybe even if you're just using jQuery, where you need to store some data associated with that element, but you're not really using any sort of state management. And this is how you would do it. So you just say element.dataset, and you get access to those properties. And then on the example of the JSON data, you can see that it actually lowercases the entire name. So JSON data, we could actually log. So if we log JSON data, that's just going to be a string, right? But if we do JSON.parse that JSON data, then we get an actual object that we can work with. So I've seen this in a lot of apps built this way as well, where they actually store data in the DOM as a stringified JSON, and then if they ever need to access it, they pull it out and parse it. But yeah, those are data attributes. They're really cool. They're not used as much really anymore, but I definitely say in older applications they're used. Cool. Blindfolded caught a stream. Yeah, we'll save that idea for later. Okay. I think this will be the last question I answer, which is my, have I ever considered using Vim? What do I think about its bindings and the way to navigate? I don't like it. So with Vim, there are some default commands, right? So I believe HJKL are the way you navigate. Like those are the arrow keys essentially, and that's pretty universal. But every single developer's Vim config is different from every other developer's Vim config. So the keyboard shortcuts that they have set, like the settings that they, like everything is completely and totally different. So if you sit down at another developer's computer who is using Vim, you're probably gonna have a hard time. Yeah, and the other thing about Vim is it's all about configuration versus like having a user interface to like set your settings like you would with VS Code. And I don't really like that because it ultimately you have to remember what are all of your keyboard commands for doing certain things. The other thing is if you want to get things like autocomplete or linter working, you have to install plugins. And I just see a lot of people not using those plugins because they are in Vim. And I like to code in VS Code where all those plugins just work super simply, and I can code that way. So that's why I don't like Vim. I don't really plan on learning it. The other thing is like in the programming community, a lot of times you see like these people basically saying like, if you don't code with Vim, you're not a programmer. And I don't like that mentality. So it's the thing. If you like Vim, use it. That's great. But I don't like it, and I don't plan on using it. So that's my opinion on that. Let's catch up on any new chat messages, and then we'll head out. Alka is saying we'll do that with the, I think the Docker containers. Yeah. What time is the next stream? Let's say 11:30 GMT -6. So about an hour from now. I do want to take a break and get some breakfast before we start going. Yeah. Yeah, Minimax is saying, I feel like if you weren't forced to use Vim, because SSHing into thin client VMs is, yikes, probably not worth learning. Yeah, and the thing is, I know, like, the basic commands for, like, VI. Like, I know how to go into insert mode and modify the thing, and then I know how to, like, write changes and quit. I know the basics. So, like, if you threw me into Vim, I would know how to get out of it. But, yeah. So... Bob is saying, I'm only using Notepad++. I don't love Vim. I love Vue. Yeah. I always forget to put the semicolon because most of the time I code in Python. Is Babel or something that help me on that? ESLint would help you with that. So ESLint, you can configure it to automatically add the semicolons where they should go. Oh, for a development environment setup? Interesting. I've never done that. And thanks for the follow, Minimax TV. Oh, wow. I'm using Stream Elements API for generated text-to-speech in my text-to-speech bot. Text-to-speech bot. Let's see. Will it just work?
Hi.
Hey, what's up? Let's take a quick stretch. Hello, friends.
Hello, friends.
This is crazy that this API does not require any authentication. Right? Is that crazy?
Hello, world.
Cool. And that is much simpler. Voice.speak, say it again. I feel like using that to speak Twitch chat. You could, yeah. So I could actually do it. I could have technically done it in this window here. So like on new message. Okay, so that's gonna give us our voice. That will give us our utterance. Though we need to create a new utterance every time a message comes in. Like this. And then we say window.speech.speak, say it again.
I feel like using that to speak Twitch chat.
I didn't set the voice, so that's the default voice. But if we set say it again's.voice to be that, and then we try to speak it.
I feel like using that to speak Twitch chat.
I did it in the wrong order. I don't know. I need to go. It's almost 10:30. Cool. Yeah, and thanks for that suggestion, Mattia. Sorry if I didn't get to your question, Manus Paul. So many messages. Is that speech API available in Node? I don't believe so. It's a browser-based API, but there are packages you can use in Node. And I mean, since Node is running on the operating system, you could do something like on OS X, use say.
Hello.
And I think there's an NPM module that works cross-platform, so it determines which platform you're on and then uses that operating system speech synthesis thing. So like when you're on Mac, it'll use say.
Hello, friends.
Yeah. There's only one voice, and I just don't care for it. Yeah, I mean, you can see all of those voices built into the browser. You might find one you like. Zoom! Yeah, it happened. We talk bees. Bon appetit, thank you. I'm gonna have some, I think I'll make some tacos, some breakfast tacos. Vim Snob's trying to convince me that an old editor from the 90s is still the coolest thing ever. I don't know. The thing is, like, customizing your Vim config is like a hobby in its own, and like that's great. If you want to have that hobby, that's great. Like I know people that have done some really cool Vim configurations, and like the way they have the file tree set up and all of their plugins set up, and they have really good syntax highlighting, but it just takes work, and I don't really want to do that. To me, it's not worth the time. I don't know. I'm not gonna click you. Where do you go? Yeah, it won't open in a new tab though, but let's open it in a new tab.
How are you this morning, CJ?
I'm doing good. Doing good. In the stream now. I'm gonna end it, I swear. Autobec is saying, currently I'm using Feathers.js, but from when the user switch selects from backend before and after hook returns the same result. Any advice? Okay, let me decipher this message. I don't exactly know what you're asking. You could potentially ask this later, or ask whenever I'm doing a Feather stream, and I'll try to answer it. Misdirection. That's funny. So my father calls the female voice in Google Maps misdirection. That's hilarious. Because she's giving you directions, right? He doesn't sound very energetic. Oh, the default voice? Yeah. What's the developer culture in Denver like? It's amazing. If you just check out meetup.com, well, for one, there's the Denver Vue.js meetup. This is the meetup that I run. But if you just look meetup.com, search for tech meetups within, 10 miles of Denver, all upcoming events. There's something every single night. So there's the Denver Anime Meetup group, who's having a board game night. There's the Boulder Java Users group, Hispanics in Technology, Denver LGBTQ. There's a Boot Campers Collective, Tech Academy, and this is just stuff that's happening like Monday. Tuesday is Denver Script. There's GraphQL Denver, like all these meetups, and all of these meetups have like a community around them. And there's a lot of startups in Denver. Like the developer and tech culture here is huge. Like you can always find something to go to, isn't it? Misdirection. Resistance is futile. Okay, I think we've made it to the end here. Vim is kind of cool. I just don't want to ride the struggle bus for months to get good at it. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, there's a huge learning curve. It's like super steep, and then it like plateaus out. But yeah. Stream.end. Eat taco. CJ, tacos at 0. I agree. Thanks, Linus. Alrighty, everyone. I'm going to end it there. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for hanging out. Thanks for asking questions and all that good stuff. Like I mentioned, in about an hour or so, I am going to be streaming with Sir Alka himself, and we're going to be working on a Twitch bot. So last weekend, we streamed for a while building a Twitch bot. It's a Twitch bot that works with potentially multiple channels. We designed the data model. We got a super basic command working. We still have quite a bit of work to do. So we're going to be working on that, and that's going to be fun. So tune in for that. And there's this. We did it. Yay. See you later. Yeah. Alrighty, everyone. Thanks for tuning in. If you followed on Twitch or subscribed on YouTube, stay tuned for the end, and you'll see your name in the credits. Alrighty, wherever you are in the world, have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, or night, and until next time, here's this.